Hey guys, welcome to the Homestead. So today I thought I'd sit down with you at my kitchen table and talk about a little bit of our personal and homestead first aid kits and really the individual first aid kit or what's called the IFAC. So let's dive into this. All right, so I'm at the kitchen table and I just wanted to go through some items here today and just give you a little bit of background about some of the things we do around here when it comes to emergency trauma or first aid. And I want to start off by telling a story. So I guess a few months back I was going through some of our medical items and I noticed that all of our quick clot or Celox bandages or powders had expired. Some of them had long expired. And if you don't know what quick clot or Celox is, what it is, it's basically a hemostatic agent that you put on a wound that's bleeding profusely, and it will stop the bleeding. And so it's been proven very effective in battlefield conditions, and a lot of EMS, I think most EMS now carry this as standard. The military carries it as standard. And so it's something that we keep often around the homestead inside of our first aid kits, medical kits. And so when I went through and I looked at everything, I was like, oh my goodness, this is expired. I don't know if I want to trust this anymore. So I need to go ahead and update all this. Well, in doing that, I decided also that not only did I need to update my quick clot and Celox or any of our hemostatic agent applications that we had on hand at the homestead, I also really needed to get some tourniquets. I really needed to get some tourniquets. Now, when I was in the military, we used to have these. For those of you who are in the military, especially the Army and the Marines, probably on our load-bearing equipment. That's our LBE. We called them LBEs. And there's different names for different versions of that. But we used to have these little pouches, these green pouches, and inside those green pouches was like a tourniquet. And it was something that could be used in a tourniquet. And we were instructed on how to use this tourniquet. And usually you had to use it like a stick, with a stick or some sort of thing that you could find laying around to tighten it enough to apply the right amount of pressure so that it would stop any arterial bleeding in like an arm or a leg. And so we were trained in how to use that, but it didn't really, it was very poor compared to the things that they have out today. And so, no, and in fact, I think I would have shown my old Army tourniquet, because I think I had a few of them saved up among my supplies, but I went back and I tried to find some. I couldn't find them. Otherwise, I would have shown them on the video and just how poor they were. But the ones they have out today are just amazing, and they can quickly shut off some major arterial bleeding very effectively. And so I wanted to go ahead and get some of these because, I really truly believed that this is something that could be just, it would change everything if you had one. These are lifesavers, no doubt about it. And, there's been close calls here and there on the homestead. I know a couple times with me, when I'm out there running the chainsaw, normally I wear chaps, okay? Normally I do wear chaps. However, if I'm going to be doing just some simple chainsawing, I'm not cutting down any trees, I just need to do a couple of simple things here and there, I won't wear chaps. But I always will wear my ripstop cotton. And there have been a couple of times when that blade, I think one or two times where that blade while it was moving, has caught my ripstop cotton pants, and the ripstop cotton has saved me from a pretty big scratch or something worse. And so I often recommend ripstop cotton, and I always wear that when I'm not wearing my chaps, but I'm always usually wearing my chaps. Anyway, that sort of thing. If I had really damaged my leg or an arm with a chainsaw, and I had some major arterial bleeding, this is something you would want to have on hand somewhere on the homestead that you could get to quickly, maybe in your vehicle, because sometimes I'm out and about on the homestead. This would save your life, because with a major arterial bleed, you have basically 3 minutes or less before you're dead, before you bleed out and you go unconscious and you're dead. So you understand, how quickly something like this would need to be applied. How does it apply? Very simple. Well, first, I bought a few of these things. Each one, I also purchased new Quick Clot hemostatic agent to go along with that. And so that's attached with these kits. And so I keep these kits together. The reason this one is unpackaged is because I opened it up and I trained my children how to use it. And I'm going to show you exactly how to use it as well. But really what you want to do is find a trained professional who can give you a hands-on, face-to-face training on these devices so you know how to use them effectively. But I'll give you a brief overview today. So anyway, I bought a few of these things. I got them set aside in some other places. And so I opened one up and I gave my children a demonstration how to use this. And then I'll keep doing that. I'll keep training them over the course of time on how to use this. So this is the Quick Clot right here. And this is the hemostatic agent where you can, this is actually a hemostatic dressing, and you can apply this to some major bleeding. But what you first want to do is apply your tourniquet. And so I have these ready to be deployed. There are certain ways you can prep these for deployment, and I have these prepped so that I can quickly open them up and put it around an extremity, or quickly detach it and then wrap it around an extremity and tighten that over an extremity, and then use this to tighten it down. So let me just go ahead and give you a quick demonstration. So let's just say the bleeding was here. I'm applying it myself because there's no one around. I'm tightening it down like this, and now I am tightening. Now you want to tighten this thing. I'm not going to tighten it all the way down, but you want to tighten this down because it's going to hurt. If you tighten it down correctly, you tighten it down until the bleeding stops. So you're tightening, the bleeding stops, then you lock it in place like so. There's a little thing here that kind of hurts. It should hurt. If you're going to tighten it correctly, it should hurt. I mean, that's going to be the difference. Anyway, you have these, I'll give you a close-up. Give you a close-up here. But you see you have these, here, let me zoom that in. You see that? It locks in on either side. So you're going to tighten, you're going to tighten, you're going to tighten, you're going to turn this, you're going to turn this, you're going to turn this, and then you're going to lock it in place, okay, so that it can't come undone. I hope that makes sense, all right? So that's how you tighten it. Then once you have it tightened, let's just go ahead and lock it back down again. And then you apply this piece of Velcro, and then you write down the time that it was applied, because you're not supposed to remove this until medical personnel have removed it for you or helped you remove it. And so you'll put the time in there, and you have 2 hours basically to get this person to medical help before you start to have damage in that extremity because of loss of blood flow. Because you're going to shut the blood flow off with this thing. I mean, it should completely lock it down. So you basically turn this thing until the blood flow stops. Then you lock it in place and you write down the time, and then you get that person to medical attention so that someone else who has the ability and equipment and skills necessary can go ahead and address the arterial bleeding. And so that's what that's for there. And then you can put the Quick Clot over the top of wherever that bleed is, and then tape that down with some included duct tape that comes with the kit. A lot of these things will have tape or duct tape or something like that, a stretch of duct tape that you can use to wrap that around to be removed by the medical professional who sees you afterwards. So anyway, this is a tourniquet. It's the CAT, I believe the CAT Gen 7 tourniquet. There's a number of tourniquets you can find out there, and all these tourniquets will have their own selling points, but it's generally considered that the Gen Cat 7 is probably one of the best out there on the market today. So how I prep this for deployment is I just go ahead and get this wrapped here. I basically run it through once, flip it over like that, and then take the tourniquet, I bring it down, bring it up, bring it down, bring it up, and then that allows me for really quick instant deployment like that I can put it over an extremity. See how quick that was? I don't have to fool around with this and try to, I mean, you'll see, I mean, some people, some people will just wrap it all the way through, and, like that. And then they'll go back and forth and all that stuff. But that's crazy, because then you got to take it off, you got to undo this, then you got to you know, then wrap it around. It just takes seconds. And when you only have 3 minutes before you bleed out and you pass out and you're dead, if it's a major arterial bleed in your arm or leg, you know, seconds count. So I keep it like this to where it's just barely through there. Lock it in, bring it down, bring it up, bring it down, bring it up like that. And all of this Velcro, there's not like positive and negative Velcro on these. It's all positive and negative Velcro. The whole thing's positive and negative Velcro mixed together. So you don't have to worry about, you know, mixing the male with the female or anything like that, or the positive with the negative Velcro. And so you just wrap it up like that, and it's ready to deploy, and you're good to go. So we have these, again, we have these throughout the Homestead now, and it's just something that I felt like I really needed to update because I hadn't updated my quick clot, and I know the battlefield effectiveness of this stuff. It's been proven, and I know the battlefield effectiveness of these tourniquets. They're far and away better than the ones we had in the military when I was in the infantry, and you know, I think the first Desert Storm basically drove home the point that we needed better tourniquets, and then battles and different engagements since then drove home the point that we need better tourniquets, and finally they came out with a really, there's a lot of good tourniquets out there in the market, but I think the Gen 7 or the Cat Gen 7 is probably the best tourniquet out in the market today, generally thought of. Do your own research on that and see what you think. So I keep that the way it is so I can easily deploy it when the time comes, but it just stays like that. And I've got these set, ready to go. They have the tourniquet. All you do is take off the rubber band, deploy the tourniquet, open this up. The quick clot is inside along with duct tape, and there's actually another tourniquet, a rubber one, included with this kit. But if you've ever had any training on those, I don't really like those, especially compared to the Cats. But anyway, if you're interested in something like this, do your own research. There's lots of guys out there with videos on these, on this equipment and how to deploy it, how to use it. And I don't think every homestead should have some immediate life-saving equipment like this laying around in case you need it. And you know, this is something the homestead community doesn't talk so much about. You know, we love talking about canning, we love talking about chickens, we love talking about food preservation and all this other stuff, solar panels, but some of this stuff gets overlooked. What are you going to do in case of emergency? And the reality is, when you live out as far as we do, when you live out here, this stuff must be your responsibility. And sometimes that scares people. They don't want to live. I mean, that's one of the selling points of a home. You know, you think about it, when a realtor shows a home, oh, it's right next to the school, there's a hospital not far away, you know, those are all selling points. Well, out here, that is not the case. And so if you want to live in a place like this, but you still want to, I mean, you take this sort of thing under your own, it's your own responsibility to learn how to deal with it. Because if it happens, you don't have the luxury of calling 911 and getting an ambulance here in 5 minutes. It's just not going to happen. You know, in fact, it's one of the reasons I tell people, if you live out here, you need to have a fire extinguisher. Every home needs to have a fire extinguisher, because since I've lived out here for the last 6 years, the volunteer fire department has never saved a home that's caught fire. Never, not once. And there's homes that burn down all the time. And there's house fires all the time, but they all burn to the ground because the volunteer fire department can't get there, because it's not their responsibility, it's yours. If you can't handle that, homesteading is not for you. No homestead for you. No homestead for you. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Go look into IFACs. It's called your individual first aid kits. Look into those. Look into the equipment. Get some quick clot or Celox in your homestead. Get a tourniquet on your homestead. Get a few of them and have the peace of mind and training to know that if something ever happens, you are able to deal with it. All right, we'll leave it at that. See you next time on the Homestead. All right, so I'll just give you a quick update that this company right here, Bleed Stop Bleeding in Seconds, this is a product that we've actually found recently in my local Walmart. I was not aware that Walmart sold hemostatic type materials, but this one was for sale in Walmart. I think it was like $3 a pack, and I think there's 3 to a pack or maybe it was $6 a pack, something like that. But if you're looking for something like that, pick up a few of these. I picked up a few just to have them close by, and I can divide these up and put them in my first aid kits around the homestead or in vehicles. But this is available in some Walmarts. I did find this recently in a Walmart. But it's just another option you guys can look up and use. But Quick Clot and Celox are probably the most notable brands that people have heard of. But amazingly, I found that in a Walmart, so I picked a couple up. All right, guys, see you next time on the Homestead. Hey there, thanks for watching our channel. If you're looking for great off-grid homesteading videos, this is the channel for you. Hit that subscribe button and be sure to like the video you just watched. You can also feel free to send us your questions by going to anamericanhomestead.com on our contact page and send me your question. Your question might get made into a video. In the meantime, check out some of these other great videos. Oh wait, go ahead and click them. Go ahead.